So it's been a hot minute since we last had a van update. So in this video, I'm gonna go over just how different the van is than it was the last time we checked it out. Last winter, I made 2 extended trips down to Arizona and back, and each direction is 24 hours of driving. So just last winter alone, I had almost 100 hours of driving this thing on the interstate, crossing North America. I felt like a truck driver, though instead of a hazmat warning, felt I might do better to add a has-been. This van's not so much a live-in, it's more of a drive-in, because I usually just do like a quick overnight trip or a couple nights on the road. I'm not living in this full-time, it's not set up for that. This is the van that someone like me who works in an office during the week and then gets a weekend to go do something fun might put together and use. This is my only vehicle as well. But hopefully that'll change soon here. I have some ideas. Since the pandemic, I fly a lot less and do a lot more one-night, 2-day trips here in the Northwest. As a result, this van is set up very differently from most of the vans you'll see on the internet. This is not a live-in van, it's a drive-in van. I bought this van brand new in the year of the goat. It's a 2015 ProMaster 136-inch wheelbase, that's the shorter one with the tall roof, and it has the 3.5-liter, nearly 300 horsepower gas engine. It's front-wheel drive, it's the cargo version with a threesome front seating arrangement, and gets just over 16 miles per gallon. So onto the build, the exterior. The headlights on the ProMaster throw about as much light as holding a lit match behind a toilet paper tube, though with less fire hazard. On the first drive down to Arizona, there was a lot of night driving on some very rural 2-lane highways through eastern Oregon and Nevada. Add in snow and rain, and I got pretty motivated to fix the poor lighting situation. Once in Arizona, I snagged these 2 Rigid Industries spotlights for a Black Friday special, and the easiest way to attach them to the van seemed to be this brush guard. Please don't call this thing a bumper. About the only thing it'll guard from is light twigs. If I hit anything with it, it'll smash the transmission cooler and radiator, but for any runaway shopping carts, it might just save us. You might think running is boring, and I have proof right here. I snagged a passenger side running board on Craigslist, which was a really big upgrade. The ProMaster is one of the lowest height cargo vans available, but it's still pretty high. I added some Sumo springs in back and returned the extra leaf spring. I found that the loaded van with a motorcycle hanging out the back was just creating a little more of a squatted stance than ideal. Inside, there's been a more upgraded than what might meet the eye. The passenger seat is finally on a swivel, which makes the van feel like there's a ton more space inside. You wish we had a rooster?
Yeah. For me and a rooster to go cock-a-doodle-doo.
You would be a good rooster, Evelina.
Yeah, I would be a really good rooster.
Next, when my daughter and I were camping and it was snowing or raining, we desperately needed a better way to prep meals and cook on the inside of the van. Now, I haven't been driving many folks around, so I came up with an idea for a removable kitchen that would take up 1 seat of the Sprinter 3-person bench and would brace off one of the latch restraint bars. I would also thread it to the threaded inserts on the C-pillar of the van, and finally would use a ratchet strap to yet another latch restraint point. I threw up a quick backsplash and a pretty ugly but functional lip to the kitchen counter. Well, when it gets to be wintertime up in the Pacific Northwest, one of my favorite things to do is to leave. We just snowbirded down here to Southern California to do a little bit of riding, the delicious warm sun. However, this is very much a desert and we are sweating quite a bit. When you're in a dry environment, it's critical you use some electrolytes to stay properly hydrated. I want to give a big thanks to Element for supporting me here. Element makes a very simple electrolyte supplement. It's just very bare bones, potassium, magnesium, and sodium. It's a tiny bit of stevia in there to make it just a little bit sweeter. And what I like to do is put one of these into my water bottle, and then I'll supplement that with a little bit of just plain water in a hydration pack. That keeps me feeling pretty safe on rides in drier, hotter, more deserty climates like right here today. For a limited time, Element's offering a free sample pack to anyone who uses my link down below. They want $5 to cover the cost of shipping. Out of all the flavors down here in Southern California, I like the citrus, the watermelon, and the orange. Back home in the Northwest where it's getting really cold, I like the mango, chili, and the spicier flavors for a little bit of extra zing. Big thanks to Element, and if you want an electrolyte supplement, this is a good way to go. I'm not a good carpenter by any means, but the fence on the table saw I bought for this project didn't ever really go on straight, so yeah, poor craftsmanship basically expounded. See what happens. We all have dreams in life, and for me, I always wanted a microwave in a van. This way, I can reheat leftovers and have a nice warm meal with minimal cleanup required. This is a small 700-watt microwave that costs less than $100 and does indeed make my life that much better. Above that, I have a tight-fitting sliding drawer that has never once fallen out when coming to a hard stop, though one day it probably will. And then next to that, we have the pantry. I carry a 4-gallon water jug, which is enough water for a few days in the Northwest or a full overnight in Arizona. Keep in mind, I mountain bike a lot and usually drink about 4 liters on a good-sized ride. I learned that counter space is more important than more burners, so I swapped over to a single burner propane stove. And yes, we have carbon monoxide detector as well as multiple fire extinguishers on board. If propane is considered dangerous, then I don't even want to think about the 22 gallons of gasoline right underneath my seat. After attempting to camp outside of Ely, Nevada in some 9-degree weather, I decided a real heater is a must. I got a Webasto that plumbs directly into the auxiliary port on the stock Ram gas tank and stuck that heater under the passenger seat. I had to relocate the jack, so I've been just carrying it under the pantry, though eventually I will build a better rear storage solution in the garage that will hold all the jack supplies as well. The bed got significantly upgraded. Headroom was super tight previously, so I drew up some 1-inch steel platforms that a local fab shop made for a couple $100. This gave me an additional 2 inches of headroom compared to the first bed iteration. I just used 1x2s as bed slats and actually designed it so that I can slide the rear portion of the bed over the front and then slide that around as needed. This means in theory I could have a workbench in the back or maybe even carry a motorcycle underneath the bed, though I've never done that. Despite my best intentions, I've never once found myself sliding the bed around as I'm not yet brave enough to cut my new mattress in half. Maybe one day. The bed measures 72 by 60 inches, which is approximately 6 inches shorter than a full queen. I have some carabiners attached to eye bolts that are bolted directly in the van body to keep the whole bed from sliding forward in an emergency, and I sized the bed pieces so they can be removed without too terribly much fuss. This is how I was able to get the DRZ into the back of the van after I purchased it all on our trip in Sedona. Removing the bed is pretty easy, but without the mattress, the van is louder than a bus ride home on the last day of school, so I usually just carry the mattress in there. For the fridge, I finally built a cabinet, and it's been great having yet another work surface inside the van. I even made a fold-out extension for when I'm on the road editing videos, or eating next to my daughter. Unfortunately, my EdgeStar fridge just stopped working and has this low light warning illuminated, to which no one is really sure of the exact fix. I gotta tear into this fridge with my voltmeter one of these days and figure it out for myself. Notice that the fridge can open while latched in place, or you can slide it out and then remove the internal baskets. A good fridge is so worthwhile. Dealing with ice just kind of sucks. At the rear of the van, we do have something I'm extremely proud of. Chocks for the mountain bikes. All I need to do is wheel a bike into the van and into the chalk, and it's held upright. 0 bungees required, no need to remove a muddy front wheel. It's super simple, and this system has worked awesome. If you do borrow this design yourself, all you need to do is thank me in the comments down below. The bed is just high enough that I don't need to drop the bike saddles. I find myself driving bicycles around daily, but only sleeping in the van 2 or 3 nights a month. As a result, I've prioritized bike travel far more over sleep comfort. I probably should have spaced these wheel chocks slightly wider apart, but I can fit 3 full-size bikes in here without too much fuss, and I've carried 4 full-size bikes plus 2 kids' bikes, all without too terribly much drama. I made sure I could still squeeze the front tire of a motorcycle between the leftmost chalk and the wall, and used that technique when I bought the DRZ 400, though I did have to remove the bed. I made a DIY awning, though I don't carry the poles for it daily. My current plan is to replace the passenger seat with an OEM Ram unit, something I've wanted to do for 4 years now, and that's just to get the passenger side airbags back to stock. For electrical, I've been happy with the little Jackery 1000. It was cheap, it was easy, and it has pretty surprising capacity. If we are using the heater, it'll power the lighting, the fridge, and even the microwave enough that we can get a solid night in and have about 20 to 30% power remaining in the morning, often more. To charge the Jackery, I installed a DC outlet on the wall that connects to the van's starting battery. The Jackery came with a plug that I can plug into that wall socket, and that'll charge the Jackery while I'm driving. It charges pretty darn fast this way, usually within a few hours. Also, Rams come with an OEM with a big AGM deep cycle starting battery. When not on a trip, I usually just plug my lighting into that wall socket to the starting battery rather than having to go to the Jackery. When camping, we then have all of the accessories removed and just plugged into the Jackery, and that way the van's battery is fully separate from all the accessories. I do have a roof vent and a fan, but I haven't really needed to install it yet. The window on the slider is right by the stove, and the warm air that accumulates right around the bed area, it's exactly where I need it. After all, I haven't done many summer road trips in the van. I mostly rode my motorcycle everywhere this summer instead. My plan is to list the van for sale in springtime. Van prices have gone up quite a bit, and while this is an amazing local and semi-local road trip setup, I don't really like driving this van long distances. It's loud inside, and honestly, ProMaster seats are not comfortable. After 6 years, I'm just ready for a change. I'm thinking I'm gonna go to a pickup truck with an 8-foot long bed. with a slide-in truck camper for when I'm gonna do a quick trip. I'm hoping that'll just be a little bit quieter for those long highway sections, and it should cost less than a fully converted van. With the difference, because I think it'll be a big difference in money, I'm gonna get another sweet motorcycle so all of you can join me for some more trips. Oh, and I'll also no longer have this as a single car. We'll get a little econo car for going to the grocery store, and it definitely will not be a rally car, and it will definitely never get rallied. I promise, Mom, I promise. Hope you guys enjoyed the van tour. If you want to see more van videos, don't subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is definitely different kind of content. There's plenty of better folks out there that have lots of van stuff. And if you are building a van, just go for it. You're gonna want to change it immediately, and that's just part of the process. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you down in the comments.